Most tradie and contracting business owners don't understand the power of social media and how effective social media can explode their business. And those that do try social media get stuck for inspiration and often run out of energy for posting after a couple of weeks. Now tune into this episode where we dig into why effective social media is a must for your business and how you can create compelling and entertaining social media content without stressing yourself out.
How to pour the rocket fuel on all of the marketing you do.
They're like, flipping heck, I've landed on the mothership.
I'm not much good in front of camera. I don't like videoing myself.
Still suck.
Because you haven't practiced it, man.
You don't have to create this content.
You just have to document the stuff you're already doing. If you can really nail this,
you rapidly accelerate your marketing, your hiring.
You end up trusted and you get so much more work.
Welcome to the Profitable Tradie Podcast. Tony Fraser-Jones is your host here with my good mate Phil Smith.
G'day, mate.
Going well?
Yeah, always good.
Mate, we're going to switch things up a bit today. Phil ran an exceptional training for our members recently called How to Master Social Media. And I reckon that'll be great to share with the listeners as well today, man. So maybe we do things a bit differently. I'll ask the questions. I shall ask the questions.
Okay.
You shall answer the questions.
I will answer the questions.
Good.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Maybe give us a bit of context here around what we're talking about today.
Yeah, cool. So basically we're talking about social media and how it's huge for your marketing. Like obviously it can help you get direct leads where people are actually inquiring and booking jobs, but also can really help build your brand credibility. So, I think the power, like we don't have to worry about that. Everyone knows that there's power in that. But the thing is, times are always changing, right? Like the way that you actually use these platforms and get the most out of them is something that changes pretty constantly. And what worked before doesn't necessarily work now. Platforms optimize differently, user behavior changes. You used to be able to post a couple of times a week or do a giveaway in order to get followers, and then the followers would see the post, but it's not like that anymore. So, what was working then doesn't work now. And I think the big thing I want to tap into here is not so much how to do an offer on social media or make a post that's going to get a job, but it's how to pour the rocket fuel on all of the marketing you do using social media and posting content that's actually good and frequent to really build up that know, like, and trust. Because at the end of the day, people do business with those that they know, like, and trust. And social media is just a huge factor for building those. And if we can adapt to user behavior in the way that platforms work, we can really hammer those three things, know, like, and trust, and basically get more jobs on a more consistent basis.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool.
It's an incredible opportunity, isn't it? Because if you think about before social media, even 10 years ago, probably even 5, but definitely 10, 20 years ago, certainly when I started in business, to build up that know, like, and trust, that relationship with people, you had to do massive sort of brand advertising, or you just had to get on your horse pretty much and ride out and meet people face to face. And it was very slow. But we can do it at scale, virally, anytime we like now if we know how to do it. And so the opportunity actually for our businesses is pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's massive. It's massive. So you got to get on this. And today's episode is really just about helping you learn some good techniques and tricks to do that effectively.
Yeah. So story time, buddy. You're up for the story.
Yeah, sure. I suppose this is less of a story and more of an anecdote, but like once upon a time, you used to buy a newspaper, right? And you'd read that newspaper front to back. Now, if you're a little bit younger, there's a little bit less time in the saddle, maybe you didn't read the newspaper, but I bet your dad did. One way or another, people used to consume that pretty commonly. And so you'd be able to, if you're a business, run a newspaper ad and you'd pick up a lot of work. And that could be, direct copy where you're actually getting work directly, or it could be branding, but one way or another, that was the place to be. Over time, and you'll definitely remember this if you're listening, it became TV, right? Like, you could only watch what was on TV. There was no Netflix and things like that. And I remember having no mobile phones either. So there was no Facebook, there was no nothing. You just watched TV and there was ads, and you saw the ads. You couldn't not see the ads. So, people were all there, and that was the place to be, and that was the place to get work and be seen. And I think nowadays, this has all just been replaced by social media. And I think the thing to understand here, I think we all know that social media has replaced things like TV or the newspaper, but I think what we maybe underappreciate is that it's not just using social media, it's using it the right way to actually link with user behavior. So it's, even if you're using the likes of Facebook or Instagram to market your business, there are areas within those platforms that are far more effective, and there's content that you can put out there that's far more effective. So if you're just posting, trying to get followers or likes or whatever, nowadays that's basically the newspaper of social media, and you need to move on. You need to update with the times. So I think that's probably the best way I can explain it.
And I think what you're going to share is super helpful around what is the content that will really spark for people, rather than just the boring Boring is batch stuff that most people do and hope for the best, which is just like a newspaper now.
Yeah, basically. Basically, it's like putting a bad ad in a thing that people don't read. So it's like, don't do it.
Okay. So if people don't do this right, they do a bad job of it. What are the problems and the challenges that they face?
Well, I think firstly, like if you don't have a really good strategy for how to build good content, you just end up boring. So people might see your content, but they don't really consume it. They don't like actually watch videos start to finish. They just skip straight off you, or they scroll straight past you, really, because it's boring. It's not interesting. It's not going to interrupt any kind of doom scroll. The next thing is you can end up really generic. You end up just posting just like everybody else. Everything you put forward is just vanilla. I think vanilla is the most most common and actually most favorited ice cream flavor, but nobody talks about it.
That's true.
So you got to rage against beige. You can end up sporadic. I think a lot of the time, the reason people don't post enough is because they just don't know what to do. They don't know what to put out there, and they don't know how to make something that's actually going to be interesting. So basically, they're sporadic, and they just post every now and then and just fade into obscurity. And overall, you just end up invisible. People have no idea who you are. They're certainly not building know, like, and trust with you because you're just not really there. So you're in obscurity, and that's not a good place to be if you're trying to pull in work and build brand confidence. So
yeah, and you feel like it's just a waste of time. Do you kind of give up if you're not here, and you actually miss the opportunity which is there, and you miss it because you didn't really know how to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a bit of a shame.
Yeah. Well, you write it off; it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah,
I knew this wouldn't work.
Yeah. That's right. So if we flip it around, and you get this right, you do a good job of it. What are the potential benefits as a business?
Well, the first one is you become addictive. So I'm sure everybody follows somebody on some kind of social media who you really consume their content a lot and you enjoy it and you can't wait to see another post by that person or that company. And so if you're posting the right way and you're posting the right stuff, then the cool thing is you become addictive. People really love to see your content. Next thing is you're unique. So rather than being generic, you actually stand out. And so when someone's scrolling, and we've all been in a doom scroll, they actually stop when they see your stuff and it really pops off the screen and they remember it, which is the whole game, really. Next thing is you become consistent. So if you've got a really good plan of not just what to create, but how often to create it and you make this an easy thing to do, then you can be consistent, and consistency is really, really important to cut through the noise. And overall, you become trusted. So people know you, they like you, they trust you. And that means that when you actually have an offer that you put forward, some kind of ad to try to generate actual jobs and inquiries, they'll take you up on that offer because they already know who you are and they think you're the real deal. So the cool thing is if you can really nail this and get a great strategy in place to be addictive, unique, and consistent, you end up trusted and you get so much more work. It just becomes almost too easy. So it's great.
It is, and there's another massive benefit here, which you've alluded to. It's great for marketing for clients, but this same stuff works well for marketing for team members. And that's often the most important marketing you do. So your social media strategy, when you get this right and you are addictive and it's unique and it's consistent and you build brand loyalty and trust, that's speaking to all your potential future employees. And you want those people to be in your socials so that when they see a job ad, they're like, flipping heck, I've landed on the mothership. And so it's incredibly important in that sense of creating the employer of choice position in the market. And we've seen that work a lot for our members, like crazy.
Yeah, it's almost like magic. So
it is, yeah.
You've really got to get into it. So much upside.
Yeah, all of a sudden they're like, wow, all my marketing for tradespeople and good workers is actually working, and it's because they're doing this, creating this ecosystem in their social media.
Yeah, 100%.
So what are the key things to focus on then to get this right, Phil?
Well, the first one I think that's really important just as a concept is to meet people where they are. And so this really comes back to the newspaper thing, right? If you're posting in the newspaper, no one gives a shit, no one's going to see it. It's just not something that gets used anymore. Now, it's the same within each social media platform. So if you're just making a post, like a traditional post that goes in someone's news feed, honestly, this might be news to you, but people don't really look at those anymore. It's just not the way that's consumed. So actually, all the social media platforms keep a lot of stats around the way that their platforms get used and user behavior. And the things that get the most consumption these days are real stories, short videos. Those are what get all the consumption. And so if you're not really sure what these are, you can look into it more, but essentially stories are short videos that are going to be consumable by your friends or contacts, Reels are things that again, short videos and things that you can make public, which can actually be consumed by anybody. And so I think just one thing to understand is once upon a time you sat on your couch and you watched TV and you saw the ads, and honestly your brain might have wandered off, but you looked at that screen. Whereas nowadays, if you're honest with yourself, you sit in front of your TV on your couch doing the same thing, only you're looking at a smaller screen in front of the big screen. Half the time you're barely even watching the TV show, you're actually just scrolling on your phone. Now, the big thing to understand is people are still watching TV and they're still seeing TV ads. It's just in the form of reels and stories on their phone. And so I think the big thing, just as the first pivot, is to understand that making those posts on someone's newsfeed or on your newsfeed, that's just a bit dead. And you need to be able to pivot to creating content for, stories, reels. Essentially, short video content is going to really, really, go well for you as far as this strategy. So I know what's going to be the next question on everyone's mind is, well, what the hell do I create? So I think the big thing to understand here is it's going to be hard for you to consistently come up with content that's going to actually work and be interesting and unique and, build trust and actually do a good job if you don't have a framework for actually creating this stuff.
That's the framework is the key, isn't it?
And I think that's what makes this all work, because we all sit down, we grab our phone out and we go, what the hell am I going to record? So for us, I think you really want to think about those four things as know, like, and trust, obviously, because that's going to build us to a point where we can actually, get our offers to work. And so offers is the fourth one. So if we can build the know, we can build the like, we can build the trust, then we can make the offers and people take us up on them. So the way I look at this is to build the know, you need to build connection, and that's actually connection with you and your company. And so we'll go into that in a bit more detail. The next one is the like. So we do this by providing value. So these are posts and videos that are valuable and actually provide information and stuff to your prospective clients and employees, so they can learn and think, wow, this was really helpful. I want to consume more of this. Trust we do through proof. So basically this is things like case studies and testimonials. It's videos with your clients where they're saying what a great job you did. Social proof. It's all that kind of thing.
Videos of jobs.
Yeah, of jobs. It's basically people seeing, wow, you actually do a really good job. And then obviously offers. So that's the pointy end. It's where you put forward an offer. Hey, we're going to be able to provide XYZ service for this deal. Limited time only, scarcity, urgency, call to action, and then they take action and actually book a job. So,
and the funny thing is, most people make the mistake of just doing an offer.
Yeah.
And so they'll do an offer. They're desperate for work and they'll put an offer out on their socials like, this isn't really working. But that's like, it's like throwing some seed on some stony ground and hoping for the best.
Yeah, well, it's like basically you're asking for something from people that don't know who you are, they don't like you at all, and they don't trust you from a bar of soap. So why the hell would they take you up on the offer?
Yeah.
And so I think that's why you need all four factors, and we'll dive into these in a bit more depth.
So if you plough the ground beforehand by doing all those other posts, then the offer will seed when you plant it.
Yeah, and I think, we'll all have tendencies. Maybe you do a lot of proof posts, a lot of photos of your work, a lot of videos of your work, but you're not doing anything to build connection with yourself or the company. Or maybe you're putting a whole bunch of offers out there and you are building connection with you, lots of videos of you doing personal stuff, but you don't have anything that provides social proof or value. And so you might be doing one or two of these quite well, but it's really the four that makes it work. And so we have a pretty good framework for how to make that all work, which is good.
So a big question then is how often should I post, or do I need to make them these videos like world-class cinematography, all that sort of stuff. So what's the go with quality and quantity?
All right, so I think a lot of the time in life we want to do quality over quantity. I think that's a pretty tested and true maxim. Forget it for this, okay? Quantity over quality all day for a couple of reasons. Number one is if you're doing quantity, it builds reps. Essentially, you're doing a lot of practice. So the more you do this, the better you will get at it. And so it's really, really important that you do this frequently enough to A, be frequent, but B, to get all of that practice in and get really good at this really quickly. Now, if you're spending a bunch of time agonizing trying to build the perfect content, film the perfect video, get the perfect shot, the problem is you're just not going to be frequent enough, firstly, and so no one's going to actually ever build a relationship with your brand. Secondly is you get no practice, so even though you tried really, really hard to make it right, you probably still didn't nail it.
You still suck.
Yeah, and again, a lot of people will be thinking, I'm not much good in front of camera, I don't like videoing myself. I'm like, it's because you haven't practiced it, man. Like, anyone can learn this, and the more you practice, the better you'll get. Good news is, at the start, when you're not that good, don't worry, your content won't be that good, and so no one will see it. Like, I think the thing is we worry that we're going to put some bad content out there and everyone will laugh and think you're an idiot. No, more likely no one will see it, because the reality is the algorithms that are very, very advanced with these platforms, And when you post bad content, honestly, they'll just down regulate the algorithm and no one will see it anyway. So you're only going to start really getting seen when you're posting, decent content anyway. So you really have nothing to lose and nothing to be ashamed of. So yeah, definitely quantity.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, the thing that is important is people like to do business with people. Yeah, I should get
people
that right.
do business with people.
That's right.
Yeah.
So this is about creating that more personal relationship and with your business as well. So how do we go about, I guess, keeping it human?
Yeah, well, keeping it human's massive. I think with this, I always think about my very first OE. So I went overseas. OE, for those of you who don't know, overseas experience. So I went overseas. I did a trip all around Southeast Asia for a few months. It was great. Took a bunch of photos. I just took photo after photo after photo of all of these beautiful sceneries and temples and cool things. And I came back to New Zealand and started showing all my friends, like, hey, look at this photo, look at this photo. No one cared. And I think the biggest reason no one cared is because it was just a bunch of photos of jungles and temples. And they all look the same and there's no one in them. And honestly, if you Googled those same places, you'd get a better photo on Google from a professional photographer. So none of my photos are even that good and they weren't interesting. But the funny thing is I went back a few years later and I took some other photos, not as many, but I was in every photo. And this time when I came back to New Zealand, I showed people and they seemed to really, really enjoy it and they wanted to look at them a lot. And it's human interest. People want to see people. And in order to build a connection with you, as you said, but people do business with people. You need to be in these photos and videos. So I think a lot of the time, there might be a lot of you listening.
Or people in your business.
But people. And so I think the key with this is a lot of the time. Or clients, whatever, but people. Yeah. So I think the key is a lot of the time we'll say, oh yeah, I've got a lot of really great content. We post photos of, good jobs and beautiful work and all that. And I'm like, yeah, it's not sexy. Like, you need to be in the shot or someone needs to be in the shot. Don't take a video of a great job you've done and be talking in the background, can't be seen saying, this is a job we did. Get your client in the video telling the camera what a great job it was with the job in the background. Because actually people are so much more interested in the person in the video than they are with the thing. So that's really important. Again, it also shows if we think about connection, so we think about know, like, and trust, we want to build the know, that's about connection, and you need to connect with a person. And so this is where, when we go through these frameworks, you're able to demonstrate your values, which people will connect with. You're able to demonstrate your personality, which people will connect with, your hobbies, which people will connect with. And that way it's not all business and office. Some trades businesses and construction businesses, we're not selling a sexy product. It's something that's ugly that lives behind a wall for some of us. So the way that you can make this interesting content is to have people and human interest. So it's really, really important to keep it human.
Massive. Yeah, relatively good looking as well. Maybe that helped with the photos. I don't know.
Oh, you're not bad yourself, mate.
So scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. It's,
we probably shouldn't go too far with that.
Yeah, it's getting awkward. Think before you speak.
Oh, this is massive. Massive. I think if you pick your phone up and you just start filming, there's a chance you do a good job. On the other hand, if you just do a little bit of thought first, there's a chance you do a better job. In fact, it's not a chance, it's a certainty. You will do a better job. Now, I'm not saying go and script yourself out a massive script for every video you make. That's just going to be overkill and it'll stop you from doing
pain
it.
In the butt.
It'll stop you from doing it. It's too much of a barrier. But what we can do is we can just make a couple of bullet points that we're going to cover within the video. So just grab a piece of paper out, or a little card and write 2 or 3 bullet points that you're going to talk about in the video. And, review that and then pick up your phone and film. Now, if you do it that way, you're going to be more succinct. You'll be to the point. You're going to get the key points that you wanted to cover, and it's just going to be a better video. So you don't go onto the rabbit holes and tangents and stuff that make it boring. And you also don't ramble or use too many filler words. So it's just going to keep it better. Yeah. Now, for us, we, with our members that we work with in the $1 Million Tradie program, we actually have a bunch of cue cards that they use as jump-offs. So for each one of the 4 categories, we've got subcategories within, and they're able to write a couple of bullet points on the back. So then that way they never run out of ideas.
Let's dig into that, because this is actually the juicy part. This is what makes it easy, because everyone runs out of inspiration after most people it's about 4 posts.
And
the real winners, it's after about 10 posts.
But even then, that's not enough.
It's not enough.
You've got a couple of weeks of content.
You've got to be consistent week after week, month after month. So let's just refresh. What are those 4 areas?
So the 4,
and then let's look at in each of those areas, what are some of those cue cards that we give people, so you can give people some inspiration around what they could actually do.
100%. So look, the 4 areas, like we said, are connection, value, proof, and offers. So connection is all about building the know. Value is building the like. Proof is building the trust, and then offers is where we actually pick up
Show
the
me the
work
money.
and basically harvest. So if we start with connection, this is all about connecting with you. Like we say, people do business with people. And so it's cool to connect with your company, that's fine, but this is where you demonstrate your personality, a little bit more about you so that people connect with you. And this may be a bit confronting for some people. They're like, oh, I don't like putting my life all over social media. I'm like, there's things you can hold back. But the problem is if you want to build a big, successful business where it's easy to get work, they need to be able to connect with someone. Companies are not able to connect with in the same way. So some of the subcategories we use to connect with you, things you can film videos about. Firstly, personal stuff. So just your interests is really what we're looking for here. So, if you're really into, like me personally, I post a lot of content about going surfing, just because they make nice photos and videos, something I'm really into, and it just makes good content. And the thing is, it has nothing to do with Profitable Tradie, but it doesn't matter. It's helping the audience build connection with me.
Yeah, and so it could be you going fishing, hunting, riding, mountain biking,
boating,
motocross, boating, skiing, running, going to the gym,
playing lawn bowls, whatever. It's just whatever your interests are. You post content about that and just videos of it. And the funny thing is, everybody has hobbies and interests and things, so that there's always going to be people that connect with it, and that's just going to help build connection with you. Next thing is holidays and vacations. If you take a really cool holiday or vacation, I'm sure you took a bunch of photos and videos. This is prime content. Again, it makes a couple of things happen. Firstly, people connect with you. They see you're a real person that does real things. Secondly, it can be aspirational. Wow, that person does really cool stuff. Man, like I really think I'd get on with them. It helps build that personal connection so they feel like they know you more. Next one is family. So, some people might feel differently about this. They might not want to put their family up there, but I know I take a lot of photos and videos of my family and cool stuff that we do together. And, if I go on a daddy-daughter date with my daughter, or me and my boys go out and do something, we're going to take photos, and this makes great content, and it helps people that are, consuming my content know that, firstly, I'm a dad, just like them. Secondly is, I'm having fun with my kids, just like they are or want to be. And so it just really helps build a connection. They feel like they know you better. So again, that's a great category. Next one is about you personally. So again, think about like your origin story. So this can be, hey, where did you come from? How did you start your business? Just having a bit of a yarn with the camera about, your background. And there are multiple ways you could do this. Like so many different things in your background. It could be stuff from your childhood. It could be, how you got into your trade. Could be the catalyst for starting your business. It could be, the first
client you ever had.
Yeah, the first time you dropped a client. The first hire you ever made. Basically, it's your origin story, it's your background, and this helps build a lot of connection with you and who you are and where you've come from. You can do a lot of stuff showcasing things like we call it your lair. Yes. This could be your office. Show people around your office. This is where the magic happens.
The workshop.
Your
excavator. Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Just showing people around your place of work, and it's almost like a behind the scenes. They feel like they're seeing behind the curtain and getting to know you on a deeper level. And another example could be just day in the life. Just document stuff you're doing in your life. So it can actually be pretty mundane. My favorite person I follow on social media is a guy that just mows people's lawns. And he does a time-lapse video of him just mowing someone's lawn. And it really should be boring, but it's so satisfying. Oh my gosh, it's mesmerizing. It's amazing content. But again, you'd think it's boring, but it's not. And you'd be surprised how good that content goes. So all of these are ideas that can help build connection with you so that people know you, which is step one.
Yep. Step two, value.
Step two is value. So this is about making people like you. So again, for this, you need to be a trusted source. It's someone that actually has good ideas, good value they can bring, and they're like, wow, I like this content, it's helpful. So again, categories you could look at here is you could talk about common mistakes within your trade. So these are common mistakes that people in my industry make that can lead to issues, but also these are common mistakes that our clients make that we're constantly having to run off and fix. And again, this is really helpful information for people because they can avoid those common mistakes and essentially not need you so much, which seems counterintuitive, but trust me, they'll still need you.
Yeah,
they'll still make those mistakes, but it's such helpful content to consume.
Common problems and common fixes, what causes this problem, water knocking or whatever, lights shorting or
what causes drains to block.
Just
never pour this down your sink. Those kinds of things, which again is super relevant and likable content. Next one is showing your work. So I think a lot of the time there'll be a lot of people out there that take a lot of photos and videos of finished product. and that's cool. But do you know what's way more interesting is actually while it's in progress. People want to see how you did it. People want to see, not just the before and after, but the during. And that's often not documented, and it makes great content. It's so interesting. Like, if you're not in your trade and you're someone on the outside looking in, you'd be surprised how much people wonder. I wonder how they did that. I wonder what that looks like in the middle. I wonder what it looks like behind a wall. And so these kinds of videos and posts actually go really well. And again, it shows a lot of value because people are like, wow, they really know what they're doing.
And if you've got a tradesperson and an apprentice on site, part of the apprentice's job is to just get a couple of
capture some content.
Trust
me, your apprentice is probably younger and they
probably
know their way around the phone.
That's right. They're all over that Insta,
baby. They'll be a pro. So this is not too hard. FAQs is a big one. So it's again, what are frequently asked questions that you get from your clients, and then answer them right there in the content. This is super interesting to people, and also how-tos. So you can step someone through how you actually go about solving some of the problems you solve day to day on site. And again, it's kind of counterintuitive. We think, but we're giving the magic away. People will be able to do it themselves. I'm like, no. What's probably more likely is they'll watch it and go, well, now I know exactly how to do it. And more importantly, I know exactly that I am not capable of this. And so they're actually more likely to, A, appreciate that you know what you're doing, and B, appreciate that they don't know what they're doing. So this is actually incredible content. It's likable, and it actually builds a need for you as well. So
the thing with this is
content.
You don't have to create this content. A lot of it, is already happening. You just got to capture it.
You just have to document the stuff you're already doing. Yeah. That's all.
And document with a camera.
Yeah.
Which is actually easier than documenting. It's just filming.
You just do what you would do anyway, only someone's filming it. It's pretty simple. Yeah. So again, this is all right there. You guys are doing this stuff already. It's just someone filming it now and then. So
that's value. So proof is next.
Yeah, proof. So this is about building trust. So again, we need people to trust you. And I think the key with this is that if I say, hey man, trust me, the first thing you're going to do is not trust me. So on the other hand, if somebody else comes along and says, hey, trust Phil, he knows what he's talking about, then you actually probably will trust me. So if I say it, it's my opinion, but if someone else says it, it's true. And this is a concept I think to think about when you're trying to build that proof. So there's 3 types of proof in my mind. Number 1 is screenshots. So if you've got Google reviews, Facebook reviews, or the likes, and you're getting some good reviews, so take screenshots of them. And post that in your social media. It's just social proof. It's people seeing other people like you. If you get a nice text message or an email from a happy client, cool, screenshot it. An act of privacy, you can blur their name. It's pretty straightforward. And post that. It's really good social proof. So screenshots is number 1. Number 2 is testimonials. So testimonials is where you get a client to talk about the fact that they're happy with the work you did. Now, I think a lot of the time the holdback here is that you're just scared to ask. So if I want to go up and ask a client, hey, I'd love you to talk about how happy you are with the job on a film, you put it in my social media, you think they'll say no. Trust me, they won't. Like honestly, 9 times out of 10 people will be like, yeah, I'm happy to do that. So when you're doing a handover at the end of the job, or your technician's about to leave, or the likes, just say, hey, do you mind if we just grab a quick selfie video? I'm just going to turn my camera on my phone. I just really love to know, are you happy with the job, and what did we do well? And just film it. And you'd be surprised how giving they are. A lot of your clients are going to give really, really cool testimonials, and they make really good video content for your social channels. You can put them in your stories, reels. You can put a bunch of them together as a longer reel, as like a montage of all of your happy clients. And again, this doesn't need to be high tech. You don't need to bring fancy camera gear, just iPhone on selfie mode and you're away. It's pretty easy. And so again, rather than taking a nice video of the finished job, get the client to stand in front of the beautiful job and talk about why they're happy with it. It's just going to go so much better. And then the third type of proof is case study. So this is basically a testimonial. Only they don't say it, you say it. You talk about what you did for a client. Now that's great. Again, I'd prefer to get a testimonial where they say it, because if they say it, it's true. But if you can't get that, then talking about
if you are doing a case study, try and do it on the job, so you can show people the job and stuff, because that just adds some credibility rather than just talking about it, because people are a little bit inherently suspicious with this. I think a lot of what is important here to understand is that this is about social media.
Yeah.
And so that's why all of this stuff is important, because it's about building social connections, and people don't go on social media just to buy. They go on there to actually have a good time and see stuff and connect and that sort of thing. And so that's why you need this whole
you need
thing.
The full spectrum.
The full spectrum.
You can't just do one or another.
Yeah. You can't just say, business, business, business. It's got to be the whole thing.
But the good news is that if you try to do the whole thing, you have so many more options for it to talk about, so you don't run out of content ideas. So actually, it's easier to do all of this than to do just one. Because if you do just one, you'll never get the frequency of content out there.
100%.
It's just too hard.
Yeah. So fourth.
Number 4 is just making offers. So again, we've done separate trainings on this. I won't get too deep into it, but this is where essentially, you've got something that's actually going to be the pointy end of the spear and get you some work. So structure that basically in terms of, good headline, maybe subhead. Again, spoken is better and video is going to be good for social media. But you can make just written posts as well. And again, you're going to have something on offer. There'll be some kind of deal. There'll be some scarcity and urgency, some reason why copy. There'll be a call to action at the end, what to actually do. Call this number, email this email address, click here, whatever. And then a sign off. So that's essentially what's going to ask for the work. But the big problem is if that's all you do is ask and you don't build the know, like, and trust, then people will never respond when you ask because you just haven't actually got a reason to respond. So when you're making this content, there's a couple ways you can do it. You can either batch film, which means that you film a whole bunch of videos all in a row and then use them all separately, or just film as you go. So again, when something comes up that's film worthy, you can do it. Again, if you're walking along and you're in the shower and you think of a good idea,
Hop out of the shower.
Hop out of the shower before you get your phone. It's a good idea. But yeah, just make a note on your phone or something. You don't have to film it at the time. You could just make a note. But again, write it down because otherwise the minute you pick your phone up to film, you'll have forgotten everything you thought of in the shower. So just constantly making notes. You walk past a job, think, that's a good job, or that job's halfway through and it's at a really interesting time. Like we could go there and film that. Make notes and then just go and capture.
Part of this is putting it into a system. Particularly when you want to get your team members to help you with this, so you can put some KPIs around what videos you require from your people out in the field, or even from could be from your pricing person, your ops person. Everyone needs to do two short videos a week that you can use. You don't have to use them, so some of them might be a bit rubbish, a bit mud. That's fine. So you can actually make it part of the performance criteria for people, and it kind of is these days. This is the landscape.
Yeah.
And I know if you're struggling to sort of get on board with it, I get it. I mean, I'm 50, like it's kind of annoying sometimes, but it's actually what it's about, and that's the game we have to play now.
Totally. It would be like I'm sure there was people that when the internet came out, they're like, that's not going to take off.
Oh, that's evil. What's going on with that internet?
Anyway, if you feel that way about social media, just understand that it's not only going to take off, it's taken off, it's flying, and if you're not on board with this, you've already missed the boat. So please get into this, guys, please. And if you haven't already pivoted to video content, especially short form video content, then please get into it. This is what people consume these days, and that's where the money is. So you've got to be there. You just have to.
Mate, this is good. It was a great training, and this has been a great session. I think there's some gold in here. So I think for me to sort of wrap it up, clear frameworks around what type of content to post will really help keep you regular with your posting schedule. It'll build massive know, like, and trust with your followers, and that's critical. And this like and trust is how you rapidly accelerate your marketing, your hiring, and the growth of your business in general. So good stuff, man.
Yeah, man. Nice.
All right. We'll lock and load there.
Sweet. Well, thanks heaps for listening, everybody, and we'll catch you again next time.
Congratulations on being part of a select group of savvy business owners who are taking their businesses to the next level. And to help you on your journey, don't forget to check out our show notes for a copy of our free book, The Profitable Tradie, and other valuable resources. Thanks for being a part of this special group, and we'll see you in the next episode of the Profitable Tradie podcast.